Yeah,
See,
was it
what
so
did
much
he
fun?
say? What did he say about the Epstein files?
What did he say?
Let's hear what he said. He looks great.
Yeah, he's been drinking somebody's blood.
The last 4 years when President Biden was in office.
Well, that's the question every American is asking. Not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What the hell is he hiding?
Why would
Well, where are they?
That was a useless clip.
This whole thing's all bullshit now. It's all BS.
Well,
So the more time passes, the more it seems like the Joe Rogan Experience becomes a depraved podcast where all you hear is Rogan rambling nonsense into his viewers' ears. And if I'm being honest, I don't know what's worse. Rogan being a complete buffoon and making no sense whatsoever, or his viewers who actually believe him. Recently, he had Theo on his podcast, and of course, right off the bat, they decided to talk about politics, particularly the government shutdown, and to no one's surprise, Rogan had no idea what he was talking about.
Well, everything's crazy right now.
I know.
I mean, I feel like this is the year. Do you feel like this is the year that people realize that like neither side of the government is working for us? Is that a weird thing to say?
Well, it's true. It's pretty obvious that it's true.
Okay.
They're all working for the people that got them in. So no matter what even if they're good people that want to do well for you, their obligations when they get in there are the people that help them get in there. They're the campaign contributors. They're the military-industrial complex, the military contractors, the big money banks, big money. That's what all this government shutdown shit was all about, man. It's all about health care, right? So it's all about how much money is getting funneled through these corporations. If you really think that what they're trying to do is make sure that people get health care, you're fucking naive.
Yeah, you're ridiculous.
What they're doing is they are protecting some kind of slush fund. If somebody digs into this and finds out where that money's going and finds out how this money's distributed, it'll make more sense. Because there ain't a fucking chance in hell that they're keeping the government shut down to protect your health.
Yeah.
There's not a chance. There's not a chance they're shutting down the fucking air traffic controllers. Not a chance they're shutting down NASA because they're worried about you getting the flu. That shit is not happening. That's not what's going on.
Now, I don't know why, but anything Rogan disagrees with or anything that makes Republicans look bad immediately becomes a conspiracy theory to him. The recent government shutdown was largely on the Republicans. An important point to remember is that Trump is the president and Republicans currently hold most of the power in the government, so the excuse they used to give when Biden was president, which was blaming the Democrats for everything, doesn't hold much weight now. Now, to explain the government shutdown, the Democrats finally had some negotiating power because Republicans needed their votes to pass a bill to reopen the government. The only thing Democrats asked for in return was the continuation of the Obamacare subsidies, simply because without them, healthcare premiums would skyrocket for much of the US. Republicans refused, which to me shows they don't care about regular working people. So as much as Rogan might want this to be a conspiracy theory because of how bad it makes Republicans look, unfortunately for him, it isn't. Now, let's keep on going because during this podcast, they also talked about the recent Epstein emails.
Setting, and they don't live in nice neighborhoods. You know, like now there's a lot of like billionaire that our government protects and stuff, but back then...
You really think so?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's what makes me nervous. I don't know.
I mean, they just had that thing that came out about the Trump Epstein thing the other day. That whole thing's just a kickball at this point, I feel like.
Bro,
I mean, how much more evidence needs to come out before these guys finally acknowledge the connections between Epstein and Trump? It seems like they always find some excuse to hide behind, no matter the fact that Trump's name appeared in the recent emails more than anyone else, no matter the fact that Epstein allegedly visited Mar-a-Lago multiple times, no matter the fact that according to the recent emails, Trump allegedly spent hours with a victim at Epstein's house. I guess all that information doesn't matter to people like Joe Rogan and Theo Von. And I think the reason is pretty simple. They adore Trump. They had him on their podcast, they've essentially endorsed him. So now for them to suddenly do a 180, especially when they've cultivated an audience that's basically in a cult, an audience that only likes Theo Von and Joe Rogan because they like Trump, you can imagine how fast that audience would stop liking and following them the moment they even dare to speak out against Trump or even mention his name in a negative light.
I'm scared sometimes.
well, that's a good perspective, and I think it's accurate. What makes me nervous is the people that are not aware that all of our assumptions of how the government works were all based on bullshit. The people that still believe, that are like true believers of one side or the other, true faith in government and experts, those people make me more nervous because some of them are smart. That's what's crazy.
I mean, I know Rogan always likes to talk about how self-aware he is, but watching that video says the complete opposite. He didn't even consider the possibility that the smart people he's talking about might be right, and the person who doesn't understand how the government works and is completely unaware of what's actually going on might be himself. Especially when you consider the fact that this is the guy who endorsed Trump even after having plenty of reasons not to after his first term.
Smart people are completely unwilling to recognize that conspiracies are not just real, but they're also not rare. They're very common. They're common and people get away with them.
Yeah.
Especially when they're in positions of extreme power, like running intelligence agencies. And there's a lot of things that they do that are morally reprehensible but totally legal. Like they could do it because they're allowed to, because they are a 3-letter organization and they have ultimate power to do a lot of like really gross things that are in the nature or in the interest of national security. So like this is the whole idea behind it. They say like this is our decision. This is the best move for national security. This is how we compromise assets. This is how we gather information. This is how we keep America safe.
But
I mean, that is the perfect description of ICE and all the horrible crimes they've committed so far. I know Rogan was certainly not referring to that considering his Democrat derangement syndrome. He was most likely referencing the CIA and FBI, which, if I'm being honest, are no better under the current administration. I mean, all you need to know is the fact that Kash Patel is the head of the FBI, and that alone gives you an idea of how incompetent the leadership of the current administration is. Now let's move on to one of the dumbest conversations from this podcast, and I must warn you, you might lose brain cells while listening to this.
Bro, they're trying to vaccinate cows. Do you know about that? They're trying to give cows mRNA vaccines.
Are they really?
Yeah. They're just trying to use the technology to make money. If you really think they're doing it to protect the cows, you're out of your fucking mind. Any of this stuff is just about money. Cows are fine. There's nothing wrong with the cows. The
Why
cows
are they even
fucking
doing
fine.
that then?
Let the cows eat grass. They'll be even better. That's what they're supposed to be eating. Let them all eat grass. They'll be fine.
But
occasionally some cows will get sick. Brucellosis is real. It's when bisons and cows intermingle. You know, bisons give cows brucellosis and it kills a bunch of them. But other than that, fucking relax.
Yeah.
Relax.
Well,
I mean, tell that to all the farmers who have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in their livestock and whose livelihoods basically depend on it. And not just their livelihoods, these farmers are the reason you and I can enjoy a good glass of milk or a steak. To have such a simplistic view of how things work is just moronic. Not to mention, medical advancements, whether for humans or animals, should be praised, not belittled. A perfect example, when your pet, whether it's a cat, dog, or whatever, gets sick, you'd want to know that you can take them to a vet and get the help your animal needs. This is possible nowadays because the medical community and all the scientists working on cures did not have the simplistic view of let nature run its course.
it never ends. It feels like there's everything. There's just always a problem with everything. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
The worry that people have is that somehow or another that stuff's going to get into your food.
Well, they're right, probably.
Yeah, they're right, because they've already talked about somehow or another getting mRNA vaccines into vegetables so that you wouldn't even have to get vaccinated. You can get it from your diet.
They tried to give me a tetanus shot the other day.
It doesn't even work.
What, tetanus shot?
No, the fucking mRNA vaccines. You're putting it in food and it doesn't even work.
Dude, I'm not taking it.
It doesn't work when you take it.
Yes, it fucking does. The fact that in 2025 we're still having this conversation is genuinely insane. Countries with high vaccination rates consistently see fewer hospitalizations, fewer deaths, and less severe disease among vaccinated people. Studies even show that vaccinated individuals are less likely to die or need ICU care than unvaccinated people, even if they get infected. So the idea that the mRNA vaccine doesn't work is just a lie, not backed by science whatsoever.
Aren't even taking it anymore, and now you're trying to put it in food.
What are they putting it in? You said radish, or what was it? Cucumber?
Radishes? I don't know. They were trying to put it in vegetables. It's like, I mean, I think it's theoretical at this point, but I know Bill Gates was talking about it.
I just feel it's like, when does it end? Like, when is it like?
It ends when they stop making money. As long as they can figure out a way to trick you into thinking that you need something, or you know, you're not going to make any money.
I know I've said this in another video, but two things can be true at once. Yes, medical companies can be greedy and profit-driven, and the products they create can still be effective. Once again, two things can coexist. They don't need to be separated.
You know that tetanus, well, you were talking about tetanus. You know tetanus is a bacteria, and it's extremely rare in America. Like very, 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 very few people ever get tetanus. You think tetanus...
I know this is very obvious to most people, but since Rogan takes his medical advice from RFK, it's kind of understandable why it's so hard for him to make this connection. The reason tetanus is so rare in the US and in most developed countries with access to vaccines is because most people are vaccinated.
Tetanus comes from a dirty nail, like you step on a nail. No, tetanus is a bacteria.
Yeah.
And it can be cleaned out. And also, tetanus is one of the rare vaccines that works as a prophylactic, like after the fact. Like you could step on a nail. You don't have tetanus yet. They give you the tetanus vaccine after you stepped on the nail,
and then
it still protects you. No, it protects you.
Right.
So you don't need to take it. Tetanus is super rare in America. It's not, you could completely fix it by cleaning out the wound. And if you get tetanus, they just inject you with the tetanus vaccine then. Like, there's no need to give tetanus shots to babies.
Yeah, they were saying maybe.
All right, so let me just say, all of that is wrong, by the way. Let's start with the first thing, which is the fact that tetanus is a bacteria. I mean, what else would it be? Of course, tetanus is caused by bacteria. I'm genuinely confused as to what Rogan thought it was. Then he says that tetanus can be cleaned out, which is not really the case. Even with excellent cleaning, you cannot guarantee that the spores are removed, especially from deep or narrow puncture wounds like nails. He then goes on to say that the vaccine can be taken after the fact, which once again is not how that works. The tetanus shot after an injury only works for people who are already up to date on their vaccines. If you've never been vaccinated, getting a tetanus shot after stepping on a nail does not provide immediate protection. Your body needs 10 to 14 days to produce enough antibodies, which is too slow to stop the bacteria if spores are already in your wound. That's why doctors give tetanus immune globulin, short for TIJ, in these cases, which basically provides antibodies immediately instead of waiting for your immune system to make them. And here's the kicker, if you're not fully vaccinated, you need both TIJ and the vaccine series. Skipping the vaccine and relying on an aftershot is not enough.
You should get it. And I was like, I don't even know if I've had it, but I don't want it. I don't want anything else.
You probably had it when you were young.
Yeah, I think I had that, but they're like, you should get it every 10 years. I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. I'll be fine. I'm okay.
It's real common in other countries. Like apparently it's, you say the Congo?
What tetanus is?
Yeah. It's a bacteria. I didn't know it was a bacteria. I thought it was something you got from rusty nails. Oh, but it makes sense if it's a vaccine, that it's protecting you from something that's kind of alive.
I'm so confused as to what Rogan thought tetanus was. Like, what else would it be? An alien life form coming from outer space trying to conquer planet Earth? Of course it's a bacteria. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for asking dumb questions. At the end of the day, that's how you learn new things. But if you're going to ask dumb questions, at least don't tell people not to get vaccinated when you clearly do not know jack shit about what you're talking about. Now, let's move on because Rogan and Theo talked about Joe's favorite subject, billionaires.
We have only so much sand left in that hourglass. Where the humans are on the way out. I know a lot of people hate it when Peter Thiel says it. Like, Peter Thiel is a terrible person. He's evil.
Do you think he is?
No. I think he's just telling you the truth. I think he's, when they said, do you think human beings should survive? And he had like this long pause.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And then the interviewer was like, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. You think human beings survive? Which is not how you're supposed to do an interview. Well, at least not how I do it. I would let him talk as long as he wants. Like,
I swear Rogan is so delusional and so out of touch with reality. One of the biggest criticisms he received not that long ago during his podcast with Kash Patel is the fact that he doesn't push back or offer any counterpoints. He just lets his guest lie to his face, with Rogan nodding along to whatever lie the guest is pushing. So to hear Rogan use that as a bragging point just shows how disconnected from reality he really is.
If you watch my podcast I did with him, is these long ass stammers where he's like, everything he does, he wants to be very careful before he answers it. So he wants to consider what he's saying. If you ask me the same question, is it important that humans survive? Okay. Is it important that Australopithecus survived? It's not. Is it important that Neanderthal survived? It's not currently. Currently not important. Is it important that humans stay in this form? It's not. It's not going to be. If we're going to evolve to something way better than this, how many people go, I miss the old days when you could lie and you couldn't read minds and people were a lot more... No one's going to say that. No one's going to, I miss the wars. I miss stealing and credit card fraud. I miss the good old days of a rigged stock market.
When the Jets won.
Yeah. No. No one's going to say that. They're going to move on to what's next. So Peter Thiel's right. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It doesn't mean that being a person isn't important to me. Yeah, it is to me because I'm a person. But I'm also... If I step outside of being a person and I look at where this thing is going, I'm like, it's going in a different direction. It's not going in the direction of
We thought it was.
mRNA vaccines and lying politicians. It's not. It's not going in that direction. It's going in some sort of digital god direction. And
so Rogan would rather trust a creepy billionaire who's obsessed with the Antichrist, whose company exists to spy on people and erase whatever privacy we have left, and who openly talks about wanting humanity to merge with robots. He would rather trust this guy than the scientific community, a community whose vaccine was thoroughly tested and proven safe. I mean, if you think about it, this really puts things into perspective. We're talking about a man who trusts someone just because he had him on his podcast, and I'm sorry, but if that's all it takes for you to trust someone, might as well retire. Now let's move on, because in the next clip, Joe Rogan checkmates himself by simply playing a video of Chuck Schumer asking a question Rogan had no answer to.
No way I can look at Chuck Schumer and think he's a good guy.
he looks like a great guy.
Yeah. If you asked a baby who had been here one day, pick a bad guy out of
Bro,
this.
did you ever see the video when...
it's fucking dark out there, man. That's why we just got to love each other and do the best we can. Have a nice creme brulee, hug a buddy, tickle your friend or whatever, tell him he's gay or something.
That's a good move.
You know?
I just opened up my Instagram and he popped up immediately.
You're lying.
No, I'm not lying.
You were lying. What's he trying to sell you? Some bullshit?
It's something important. He accidentally said the quiet part out loud about the Epstein files.
They all are doing that, dude.
All right, let's see what he said. Here, I'll send it to you, Jamie. They got me, these motherfuckers.
It's a wrap.
They got me.
How much longer does Israel let us stay alive, do you think? That's the big question.
Why would they...
What did you say? Is that AI?
What are you saying?
That's Sora?
The fuck are you saying?
I didn't say anything.
What are you saying?
Huh? Talking about Israel Adesanya.
Oh, well, he loves you. Don't worry about it.
Good call.
Fuck are you saying, son?
Yeah,
See,
was it so
what
much
did he
fun?
say? What did he say about the Epstein files?
What did he say?
Let's hear what he said. He looks great.
Yeah, he's been drinking somebody's
The
blood.
last 4 years when President Biden was in office.
Well, that's the question every American is asking. Not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What the hell is he hiding?
Why would...
Well, where are
Okay,
they?
that was a useless clip.
This whole thing's all bullshit now. It's all BS.
Well, it's...
I mean, what was completely useless and bullshit was these two's response to that question. And it is a good question. If Trump has nothing to hide, why not just release everything and prove to everyone he's not guilty? The reason he's not doing any of that is because his name is in those files, which is pretty obvious at this point. What's even more messed up is that these two, at this late date, are still denying it and barely even talking about it. And honestly, that's a horrible look no matter who you are, because what you're essentially doing is defending a PDF file.